Welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute devotional podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse. Broadcast from the ever-beautiful Sharonville, Ohio, on the sunny side of Cincinnati. Hey, welcome back to Fair Trade Bible Study. Daily Dose Radio is on the air. Glad you're with me all week, I hope. Come on, sit down, Bible Bistro. It's open. We got it going on today because we're looking at Psalm 30. The party has started. David is throwing a party for the dedication of his house. And we see that in the first two verses, instead of him making a speech about all the great tax reforms that he's created and all the wonderful wars that he's won and how he's brought safety and security and unity to Israel, can't you just hear some politician saying all that? I sure can. Right away, he sets in place for us his theme, but it's not about him. He's not trying to pad his political resume. He says, "You, Lord, have done this. You lifted me up on high. You have healed me." And then in 3, 4, and 5, we find out something about this healing that he just mentioned. So we're having a party, but all of a sudden it's turned into a worship experience because David is now at the mic, and he's letting everybody know there's only one reason why I stand here before you today at the dedication of this house, and that's because the Lord has done a work. And here's his work. "O Lord, you have caused my soul to be lifted out of hell. You have revived me rather than sending me down to the pit. His saints will sing to the Lord and give thanks to the remembrance of his holiness. For his anger is momentary. His favor is lifelong. In the evening there dwells weeping, but in the morning joy." Now, again, this is my translation, and I don't blame you if you like yours better, especially the King James, so beautifully poetic right here, especially in verse 5. Verse 5 is just one of those precious points in the Psalter that everyone probably knows. His anger endureth but a moment. His favor is life. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. Yeah, we all know that one, don't we? And so I've made my translation especially wooden this week to contrast it, but you know, the real good translation is the King James, or maybe whatever you're using. Let's go back to verse 3. "You've caused my soul to be lifted out of hell." I said yesterday that, you know, this healing that he's talked about there in verse 2, physical healing perhaps, but more than likely, because we know David's story, this is a spiritual healing. This is a healing of the soulish nature of David. He's healing his heart. He's restoring him in a way that only God could do. "You have caused my soul to be lifted out of hell. You revived me rather than sending me down to the pit." So there's life. The life-giving power of God has done a work of reversal for David. He goes from being on the run to being king in his own capital, in his own house, with a united Israel around him. I mean, who would have ever thought that that would have happened? But the Lord had it in plan all along. Then he goes on to say, "His saints will sing to the Lord and give thanks to the remembrance of his holiness." Well, of course they will, and this is exactly what David is doing. Everybody else is silent here, because David says, if you're a saint, this is what you're about. The sanctified ones are going to sing. They're going to sing to the Lord and give thanks because they remember his tax cuts, his military victories, his unification of the country. No. What they remember is his holiness. It is the holiness of the Lord that the saints sing of, because his holiness, everything proceeds from his holiness. Verse 5. "For his anger is momentary, his favor is lifelong. In the evening there dwells weeping, but in the morning, joy." You see, it's only going to last for a little while, David says. Yeah, it may look black now, and it's dark right now, but guess what? Things are about to change. The sun's coming up. Morning, joy. You're going to rejoice. Join me tomorrow. Let's look at verses 6 and 7 together then on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. I'm David Smith. The music today has been performed by the Bluegrass Experiment. Thanks again for listening. I'll see you next time on Daily Dose Radio.